First of all, guys, thank you so much for the last video response. Keep supporting me. I will be better video by video. Here are the people who got shout out.
CPU. The CPU, or Central Processing Unit, is the main processor of a PC and one of the most important components in the entire system. Almost every task you perform, from opening an application to running a game, involves the CPU in some way. It reads instructions, performs calculations, processes information, and coordinates what different parts of the computer need to do. Modern CPUs contain multiple cores, allowing them to work on several tasks at the same time, and many also support multiple threads for handling even more work efficiently. CPU performance depends on much more than just clock speed, with architecture, core count, cache, and power limits all playing a role. A powerful CPU can make applications feel more responsive, improve performance in CPU-heavy games, and handle demanding tasks such as video editing and 3D work much more efficiently. It also works closely with the other components, so even the fastest CPU cannot perform at its best if the rest of the system creates a bottleneck. Motherboard. The motherboard is the main circuit board that connects almost every component inside a PC, making it one of the most important pieces of the system. The CPU, RAM, graphics card, storage, power supply, and other hardware all connect to it directly or communicate through it. It contains different slots, ports, and connectors that allow these components to exchange data and receive power. The motherboard also determines which processors, memory types, storage devices, and expansion cards your computer can support. Different motherboards come with different features, sizes, and capabilities, so a high-end motherboard may offer more expansion slots, faster connections, better power delivery, and additional ports. In simple terms, the motherboard doesn't do all the processing itself, but it gives every other component a place to connect and a way to work together. Without it, all the individual parts would simply be separate pieces of hardware with no practical way to function as one computer. RAM, or random access memory, is the PC's short-term working memory, and it plays a huge role in how smoothly your computer can handle multiple tasks. When you open a game, browser, application, or document, the information that needs to be accessed quickly is loaded into RAM. This allows the CPU to retrieve that information much faster than it could from long-term storage. RAM is different from storage because it is temporary. When you turn off your computer, everything stored in RAM is cleared. Having more RAM allows your PC to keep more applications and information ready at the same time, which is especially useful when multitasking, gaming, editing videos, or working with large files. RAM also comes in different generations and speeds, so capacity isn't the only factor that matters when choosing memory for a PC. If a computer doesn't have enough RAM for what you're doing, it may need to rely more heavily on slower storage, which can make the whole system feel less responsive. GPU. The GPU, or Graphics Processing Unit, is the component responsible for handling graphics and many tasks that involve processing huge amounts of data at the same time. It is especially important for gaming, 3D rendering, video editing, visual effects, and other graphics-heavy applications. A dedicated GPU is usually installed on a graphics card and contains its own processor and video memory. While the CPU is designed to handle many different types of tasks, the GPU is built to perform large numbers of similar calculations simultaneously, making it extremely effective for rendering images and complex visual scenes. Some CPUs also contain integrated graphics, which can handle everyday visuals without requiring a separate graphics card. However, demanding games and professional applications generally benefit from the much greater processing power of a dedicated GPU. The GPU also has a major effect on gaming performance because it determines how quickly your computer can render frames and handle demanding graphical settings. Storage. Storage is where your PC permanently keeps its operating system, applications, games, photos, videos, documents, and almost everything else you save. Unlike RAM, storage keeps your data even after the computer is turned off. The two main types are SSDs and HDDs. Hard disk drives use spinning magnetic disks and moving parts to store and retrieve information, while solid-state drives use flash memory and have no moving mechanical parts. SSDs are much faster and can make a PC feel dramatically more responsive, especially when starting Windows, opening programs, and loading games. NVMe SSDs are even faster because they connect through PCI Express and communicate using a high-speed storage protocol. Storage capacity is measured in gigabytes and terabytes, while the type and speed of the drive determine how quickly your PC can access the data stored on it. For many modern computers, upgrading from a hard drive to an SSD can be one of the most noticeable improvements in everyday performance. Power supply. The power supply unit, or PSU, is responsible for providing electricity to every major component inside the PC. It takes electrical power from the wall outlet and converts it into the specific types of power required by the motherboard, CPU, graphics card, storage drives, fans, and other hardware. PSUs come in different wattages because different computers require different amounts of power. A basic office PC might work comfortably with a relatively low power unit, while a gaming PC with a powerful graphics card can require significantly more. But choosing a PSU isn't simply about finding the highest wattage possible. Quality, efficiency, protection features, and having enough capacity for the system are all important. A reliable power supply provides stable electricity and helps protect the expensive components connected to it. Since every major component depends on the PSU, choosing a poor quality unit can create problems for the entire computer, even if the rest of the hardware is excellent. CPU cooler. The CPU cooler is responsible for removing the heat produced by the processor while it is working. Every time the CPU performs calculations, some of the electrical energy it uses is converted into heat, and that heat needs to be removed to keep the processor operating safely. The most common cooling method uses a metal heatsink and fan. The heatsink absorbs heat from the CPU and spreads it across many metal fins, while the fan pushes air through those fins to carry the heat away. More powerful systems can use liquid cooling, which moves heat through coolant to a radiator where fans release it into the surrounding air. Without an adequate cooler, a CPU can become too hot and automatically reduce its performance to protect itself. So even though the cooler doesn't perform calculations, it is essential for keeping the processor running properly. A good cooling setup can also help the CPU maintain higher performance for longer periods during demanding tasks such as gaming, rendering, and video editing. PC case. The PC case is the enclosure that holds, protects, and organizes all the internal components of the computer. It provides mounting locations for the motherboard, power supply, storage drives, cooling fans, and other hardware, while also giving the system a structured path for airflow. Cases come in different sizes and designs, including large towers, mid-towers, and compact cases, and the size you choose affects which components can fit inside. A good case needs enough space for the graphics card and CPU cooler while also providing sensible airflow so that hot air can escape and cooler air can enter. Modern cases may include features such as tempered glass panels, front USB ports, removable dust filters, cable management areas, and support for multiple fans or radiators. Although the case doesn't directly make the computer faster, it protects the hardware and can have a major effect on cooling, noise, and how easy the PC is to build and maintain. It also brings all the separate components together into one organized system that can be safely used on a desk or anywhere else you keep your computer.